Amara's Blitz is an incredibly interesting case study to me. It's an interesting showcase to see people forego doing damage and utilizing an incredibly powerful skill because of either perceived consistency, lack of understanding, or just purely comfort. I want to talk about each of these things, why I think that Blitz is actually an incredibly valuable skill to pick up for almost any melee build ever, and why, despite that being the case, a lot of people do tend to just not pick it up. But first, let me quickly go over what Blitz is. Blitz is Amara's capstone in her green tree. It reads melee override, press your melee key when aiming at an enemy to make Amara dash a short distance forward and perform a special melee strike dealing elemental melee damage. If a Blitz melee attack kills an enemy, Blitz's cooldown is immediately reset. This cooldown is 10 seconds. While Blitz is active, the active bonus damage of it is 83%, but as well as that, Blitz also gives you a passive 100% melee damage bonus. And this is where we start getting into the territory of the things about Blitz that the game doesn't tell you. Yes, just speccing into Blitz, that 1 point gives you 100% melee damage. No matter what, whether Blitz is active, inactive, whether you missed it, whether you hit it, you always have 100% bonus melee damage when speccing into the skill. The 100% listed on the card is not the damage provided by the actual Blitz effect itself. As mentioned, that damage is 83%. But what's even more interesting about that is that while the 100% is just pure melee damage, that 83% is actually a part of your base melee hit calculation. I apologize, we're gonna have to bring up the damage formula so I can show you what I mean here, but that Blitz active damage happens within the base melee hit calculation. This is where you have, of course, your base melee damage, which then gets multiplied by that 83% for your Blitz active, and then multiplied by 16 for the melee damage mayhem scaling. And as just another nerdy note here, it's not always an 83% damage buff. It's honestly not even calculated as a percent damage buff, but it's variable by level. The formula for calculating your Blitz damage is 0.75 plus 0.015 times your current level, which at level 72 is a 1.83 times multiplier on your base melee damage hit, which is effectively an 83% damage buff. But outside of mayhem scaling, this is the only way that you can interact within this section of your base melee damage hit, making this a very unique and pretty damn strong multiplier to have. And it gives you a lot more value than just 100% melee damage, which again you are also getting, so the card kind of underplays the value that Blitz gives you. Now I want to talk about the common reasons that I see that people don't use Blitz or don't like Blitz, and I want to give my reasons for being in disagreement. Of course, a lot of this is personal preference, and with that, I can't say it's right or wrong, except it 100% is if you don't use Blitz, you are wrong, you're a pussy, you're a little piss baby little bitch, and I'm cool, I'm right, I use the cool skill. I don't want to say that using Blitz makes me just a better person overall, but it kind of does. But anyways, the biggest reason that I see people not use Blitz is because they say that it's very inconsistent, and this is true. But I think it's very over-exaggerated, and it's more so an issue of how consistent the Blitz effect actually makes itself feel, rather than how consistent it actually is. I do think just in general the consistency issue is very overplayed. I think that Blitz actually will chain quite often, as I've used Blitz for years now, and I have hit some very nasty chains, and the uptime of it is usually pretty damn high. That being said, it's also very common for Blitz chains to just drop out even if you kill an enemy with your Blitz attack. Sometimes it doesn't reset, sometimes you miss your Blitz even though you should have hit, sometimes the animation is just really goofy. This does happen, and I'm not gonna claim that it doesn't. What I am gonna claim though is that even if you are the most unlucky bastard ever and Blitz literally never chains off of itself, it is still worthwhile to use, and you are still getting value out of it because you are getting a way bigger buff to your damage every 10 seconds. Within the context of BL3, that can seem like a pretty long cooldown, but it's really not. If your average Molly 1 takedown run takes around 10 minutes, that is 600 seconds, which divided into 10 is 60 procs. That is 60 Blitz activations that you can get in a single run of Molly 1 takedown if you never chain, which is just very unlikely to happen. But that's still value. 60 improved melee hits in a single run. That's value. That's 1 point worth of value, and that's ignoring the fact that you're still getting 100% melee damage on every hit that doesn't Blitz. The other one that I see often is just a comfort thing. A lot of people don't like how Blitz feels. A lot of people think it feels very clunky, that it can be frustrating to use. Some people think that the dash isn't really beneficial and sometimes hurts you. And I mean, yeah, all of this is really just personal preference, and there's no concrete argument, but what I can say, even as someone who does feel that Blitz is very janky and very odd to use sometimes, it's something that in my case, I got used to, and I don't really mind it that much anymore. And to me, it's way more worthy of a trade-off for the extra damage that I can get out of Blitz. And even more than the damage, the fun that I can get out of Blitz, because despite being a janky piece of shit, oh my god, when you are chaining Blitzes back to back and just bouncing from enemy to enemy, it feels like one of the most badass things ever. And visually, it's just pretty damn cool. Overall though, if you just don't like Blitz for one reason or another, I hope you at least learned something about the skill here. But if you're someone who just hasn't really used Blitz too much because you hear around the community that a lot of people don't like it, I recommend giving it a try and playing around with it yourself. I genuinely believe that despite its flaws, it's still one of the coolest and most fun skills in the entirety of BL3, and it's easily up there as one of my favorites for Amara. If you're looking for a build that very effectively uses Blitz because it focuses very heavily on just full one-shotting your enemies with melee, I do have my one-punch Amara build. It's a little bit old, but everything is still up to date within it. It's the build that you've been seeing throughout this entire video, and I do recommend giving it a try if you're a fan of melee. But that's gonna about do it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, definitely consider leaving a like, comment, subscribe, all that. I'll be live right after this video goes up, right here on YouTube and also over on my Twitch channel, where there'll be a link to down in the description below, and just under that is a link to my Discord server where you can come and join and hang out. But with that all being said, I hope to see you guys in the next one.